Hello class, my name is Josh and here's my fourth creative discussion post. Today for my story I'm going to be talking about the Malthusian theory, which is about the three factors that control population and, in a sense, keep it in check. Those three factors were war, famine, and disease. Alright, here we go. Alright, Professor Domino, who was studying the Malthusian theory, took a trip to Libya to study the effect of the theory there. While observing in this country, he sees high mortality rates, and he knows that at some point or another, either a warlord, disease, and/or famine will eventually be the cause for a severe drop in the population. Professor Domino knows that there are plenty of warlords throughout this country that are lurking around, waiting for an opportunity to take advantage of and grow their power. One day, while our professor was walking through one of the small villages in Libya, he at first noticed many people walking around the village, coughing, sneezing, throwing up, symptoms of being sick. Not only did he notice all these people showing symptoms of being sick, however, but he also noticed many graves were being dug for those that seemed to have been recently killed by this disease that seems to be spreading throughout the entire village. This was not a good thing to be happening for the small village because of the fact that not only were people dying, which is sad, but the people that seem to be dying by this disease happen to be all the workers in the villages, like their hunters and farmers, etc. Professor Domino felt sad for these people that were losing their loved ones, so he decided to try and help by offering to dig the graves for the recently deceased. He thought this would be one of the best ways he knew how to help, so instead of these women and children struggling to try and dig graves for their loved ones, they can have more time to mourn and try to get through this grieving process. Unfortunately for these people, however, this was not the end of their bad luck in this village. A few days after our professor was helping dig the graves, he started hearing gunshots. At first, Professor Domino didn't recognize the sound or what was going on, and that is until he decided to look to his right and saw a group of men riding into the village on horseback holding AK-47s. This is when he had realized what was going on, and he realized a warlord was riding through the village, killing every person that they could find. The warlord must have noticed that the village would be an easy target, so to say, for him, since so many of the residents were already either dead or dying from some disease. Once noticing this, the warlord decided to seize the opportunity to come raid this village, killing everyone they can and take all the resources he and his group of men could haul. Once Professor had noticed this, he knew he needed to find a good place to hide in order to make it out of the situation with his life. This is when he had the terrible but great idea of how he would be able to hide, considering he was next to all the dead bodies of everyone that had passed away from the disease. Professor Domino decided to hide himself in the pile of dead bodies so he wouldn't be found. Finally, after all the noise had stopped, Professor Domino emerged from his hiding spot to see complete horror. Everyone who had not found their own hiding spot had been killed, and all the valuable resources throughout the village had been taken. In summary, if it's between war, famine, and disease, population will always stay relatively in check due to either natural causes or human causes. As unfortunate as this can be for the people in effect of this, Professor Domino witnessed the theory in full effect with the events that went down while visiting this village in Libya. So while this was my little story to talk to you about the Malthusian theory and try to explain it while including a somewhat interesting story to go along with it. It was sad that in the story these unfortunate events had to happen to these people and that Professor Domino had to witness it firsthand in order to see just how true this theory can be. As sad as it can be, when looking at the larger picture when it comes to population and resource consumption, it seems that this theory is a liable theory that does, as I said, either keep the population, as I said earlier, keeping the population and mortality rate in check more or less. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your night and or day, and I hope my story helped understand this theory a little bit more for you.